Let's forget about corporate boardrooms and those super complicated charts for a second. Planning, it's a fundamental human skill. It's really the secret sauce for everything, from, launching a rocket to just figuring out what to make for dinner. And in the next few minutes, we're going to turn it into your new superpower.
Seriously, think about it. That home renovation you've been dreaming of, a huge project at work, or even just a team goal. What is the one thing that so often sends them just spiraling into chaos, missed deadlines, and a whole lot of frustration?
Well, the answer is a lack of planning. It's that moment we just jump right into the action without any kind of roadmap. We're basically inviting chaos to the party. And that chaos, it isn't just a feeling. It has a very real cost in time, in money, and in morale.
Okay, this is where it gets painfully familiar, right? This isn't just a list, it's like a domino effect. First, the work isn't completed on schedule. That leads to confusion. Suddenly, nobody knows who's doing what. That confusion, of course, leads to that frantic last-minute rush. And the worst part? That duplication of work, where you've got two people unknowingly solving the exact same problem. What a waste of time.
And this image, it just captures the human cost of that chaos perfectly. It's not just about missed deadlines on a spreadsheet. It's about real-world stress, arguments, and pointing fingers. So much of this friction can be avoided just by creating a little clarity right from the start.
So how do we actually avoid all this chaos? Well, luckily, there's a time-tested framework for managing pretty much any project or goal. And it all starts with one essential foundation. It all comes down to the number 4. There are 4 fundamental pillars or functions that support any successful project. Any idea what they are? And here they are: planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. And listen, the order here is absolutely critical. You cannot organize your resources, or lead a team, or control the outcome of a project if you haven't first done the planning. So here's the main takeaway. Planning is always the first step, because it defines what you're trying to do. It's the act of deciding on your destination before you even start the car. Without that, organizing, leading, and controlling are just aimless activities. You'd basically be driving around with no map and no idea where you're even going.
So we've established that planning is the foundation. But what does a plan actually look like? I promise it's not as complicated as you might think. Let's break it down into something really simple and actionable.
Okay, so here's the official definition from our source material. A predicted course of action. It sounds a little formal, I know, but it's really just about thinking ahead. The key words to focus on here are specific and measurable results. A good plan isn't vague. It has a crystal clear finish line.
And we can boil that whole formal definition down to just these 3 simple questions. First, what is the goal? You gotta be specific. Second, why is it important? This is what gives you and your team motivation. And finally, how are you going to get it done? This is where you map out the steps. That's it. Seriously, that is the core of all planning.
Answering those 3 questions gives you this. It completely replaces the chaos and confusion with this sense of control and confidence. You know exactly where you're going, and you've got a map to get there.
Okay, this all makes sense, but does every single little task need a formal, written-out plan? I mean, that sounds like a lot of work, so let's get practical about it.
So the great news is, you're already an expert planner. You do it constantly, without even thinking about it. Deciding what to eat for lunch, figuring out the route you're going to take to the store, what you need to get done after work, that's all planning. It's happening in your head all day long.
So the real skill is knowing when a simple mental plan is enough and when you really need to write it down. For small, quick tasks that you're just doing by yourself, a mental plan is totally fine. But the moment a task gets more complex, involving other people or a bunch of different steps, that's your signal. It's time to write it down.
So what are the triggers? Think of them like little alarm bells for complexity. The second you need to coordinate with multiple people, a written plan becomes your single source of truth. If a project has multiple stages, it's your memory, making sure no step gets missed. And crucially, for any long-term effort, it's the anchor that keeps everyone on track. As we wrap this up, I want to leave you with what I think is the most important mindset shift from this whole explainer. It's this idea that planning isn't some extra task you have to do before the real work can begin. I just love this quote. Think about it. Planning isn't separate from the doing, it's the first phase of doing. It's the part of the work where you ensure all the other parts will actually succeed. It saves you time, it prevents errors, it reduces stress. It is the work. And this just brilliantly illustrates the ultimate result. Projects on this kind of scale, I mean, these are monumental achievements of engineering and coordination. They are simply impossible without meticulous, detailed, ongoing planning. Every single scoop of dirt, every road, every level, it was all planned. This is what happens when planning is treated as an integral part of the work itself.
So whether your next project is as big as this mountain or as small as just organizing your week, the principles are exactly the same. Start by asking what, why, and how. So what great project will you plan next?